Hi. Hi, I'm Nicholas Gonzalez, and I'm sitting here with Elias from the Man Cave Chronicles. And I want to talk about Borrego coming out January 14th on all digital platforms and select theaters. Go out and see it.
Nicholas, welcome to the cave.
Thanks for having me.
Exciting time. Listeners and viewers are going to see you in the new film Borrego. Starring Lucy Hale, Olivia. As I mentioned, I had her on the show a few minutes ago. Exciting time for you.
Yeah, it's really exciting time. I mean, this is a film that came about that we were supposed to go shoot it right before the pandemic, and Q2 pandemic hit, and suddenly we're not shooting in the Enzo Borrego Desert outside of San Diego. We're shooting in Spain.
That's right.
Yeah, in Almeria, which is exactly where the on the exact same sets as the spaghetti westerns that Sergio Leone had done.
Wow.
And that influenced a lot of like the look of the film too, which I think is really incredible. There's a certain like soul to this film, and you see it in the shots. And I think I heard Jesse Harris put it best. He's the writer director. Is that it's like um, the desert is always in the shot. It's another character, and no matter what, if we're in close or whatever, that you're always getting a sense of this wide open, gorgeous location.
It's funny you say that, because like a lot of the spaghetti western, like you mentioned, that's what they always say. They always said the desert for some reason is another actor in the films.
Yeah, definitely, and it definitely ratchets up the stakes, of course. For not only the Lucy Hale and her being hunted down by Jorge, who's like one of my favorite actors, and another San Anto boy from San Antonio, Texas, and it just really starts to ramp up, from there.
So before we dive more into the movie, one of the questions I always ask my guests is like, I want to know, like, what made you fall in love with acting? What made you get into this?
I was actually thinking, I was thinking myself that same question recently, because I was like, how did everything just happen so beautifully that brought me to something that I love so much, and that I'm so grateful to be able to do. But it was something that came about when I was in college. It was watching performers like Sterling Kilby Brown, we were in the same class at Stanford. Watching him perform, I think I just always had a longing to do it, but I never did it any younger. I never was in drama. I was an athlete, and for me it was amazing, and I didn't think people could really do that for a living. And somehow I found myself doing theater, and then I just got the bug and moved to LA, and
Wow.
rest is history.
So you mentioned college. What were you originally going to college for?
Good question. I was looking at becoming an econ major, and I was looking at investment banking, management consulting, a lot of English majors, which I ended up do a lot of that, and are recruited for that from Stanford. But at the same time, I didn't even know what that meant. And I think acting came along at the perfect time, because it was something that I had longed for, and then it was also just I had more than enough time to focus on it too.
That's awesome. So yeah, let's jump right into the film Borrego. It's coming out in a few days. It was mentioned, I heard it from what Olivia was telling me in the interview. You guys filmed it pretty much in a bubble in a whole month. Like, tell us a little. First of all, like, how did you even get approached for this film? Did you know Jesse before this, or have you worked with him before?
I've worked with some of the producers,
Okay.
and they had introduced me to Jesse, and they said, look at this is a short film that he did, and we want to do long form. This is the script. I think you'd be awesome as a sheriff." And I just looked at it, and really just moved by the script. I felt like it had a lot of beautiful moments. I really felt like, as a recent father myself, I have a 4.5-year-old, and then just recently on December, my son was born.
Congrats.
So thank you so much. So to be a father, I really wanted to investigate what's that like. What's that like if when your daughter's 14, going on 16, that and you're keeping her in this tiny desert town. What is this relationship like, and how fraught, and that longing we all have as a child to have a good relationship with your parent, but that as a parent to have a good relationship with your child, and we both want the same thing, and yet how we miss it, and I think that's imbued in a lot of the scenes and the lovely work that Olivia gives.
You mentioned now you play the chief. Like, how would you describe his character, and like how do you prepare to play such a role, pretty much?
The sheriff.
Yeah, a sheriff. Sorry.
Yeah, he's yeah, chief. That's a whole other thing. No, he's a deputy sheriff, and I've played a lot of law enforcement, and to me, it's one of my favorites. And I have a lot
Mm,
of respect for all law enforcement. I have a lot of family that are either cops or
yeah.
fire department, and I always and military is something I grew up on. My father's a vet, and he was a 20-year veteran of the military, and it was just a life we kind of grew up in. So any chance to get back to that for me is interesting. But that was kind of immaterial with this
Mm,
character. I felt like it was I really liked this dad in this facet of investigating this relationship. But then also, what is it about this man, like all the other characters that are hiding out in this town? Why? What moves someone that's where they want to stay?
mm,
That was an interesting question for me.
no. Now, you mentioned, Alex, your daughter on the movie, like you guys butt heads from what I was watching the other night. Like, how would you describe that chemistry? And she also told me that was that one of the first times you've actually worked with a young person too?
The first time I have, is that what she said? No.
Yeah. Now she was joking around, wasn't she?
Tell her I've had so many daughters. Oh, please, come on, please. No, but I don't know. Maybe a teen. Maybe a teen. Maybe she's right as a teen daughter.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know, but maybe she's right. She's probably right. Yeah, but she's really fun, and I think it was the relationship that I really got to not I wouldn't even say work on, but just get to know her. Get to know
Mm,
her, her mother who was there as well, and it was just from the beginning. I was like, oh, this is great. I know this is our relationship, and it was an antagonistic one, but it was really fun for both of us. And I think a natural intimacy grew out of that.
that's great. So, like, I don't want to like spoil the movie for the viewers and the listeners, but like a part of the movie, Ellie goes missing, and you have to work with Alex to find her because you don't even have backup to help you find the missing person.
Right, he's understaffed. He's the only guy out here for hundreds of miles, and it kind of relies on him. And what he doesn't know is his daughter. The women are definitely heroes in this film. Um, and yeah, I don't want to give away. I don't want to give away too much either. But
Tell us about the filming. You get a month in Spain, hot in October, but freezing at night.
yeah, I took my golf clubs, and I was bound and determined, even if I was so tired from all the shooting we were doing. In long days out in the desert, cold nights,
Mm,
and running and gunning. There's not trailers. There's not really anywhere to go back to. Although every once in a while there's trailers. Yeah, I'm not going to say we weren't. They didn't treat us horribly or anything like that. It was the conditions. We were getting what we could, and we were happy to. You were like running around with the cameraman.
mm,
So it was a really awesome experience. But around there, Almeria is gorgeous. There's so
mm.
many things going on, and some of them were golf courses, and I may have seen a
Awesome.
few. Yeah.
So, would you book this role? Also, did you go back to watch the short just to
I did.
see how you wanted to play this character? Because and also like the only person that from the short was Olivia that came onto the film.
Right.
Everybody else was all new.
Right, and my character was new as well. So for me, it wasn't about looking back to it, but it was just to kind of get an
Yeah.
idea of Jesse's eye. Him
Right.
as the writer director. How does he see this story? And then knowing, okay, that's what he's done with a short budget. What is he going to do? When we give him money and everything
Yeah.
else.
How was it working under him for a month and like the way he visioned the film?
What did Jesse tell you? I worked under him. Is that what he said? Were those his words? Under him?
No, I haven't had him. I honestly like, what was it
Jesse,
working
before
with
this, is
him?
that what he said? No, I'm kidding. That's what it was like. I mean, he's totally fun. He's got so much energy when you're just 15th take and he hasn't gotten exactly what he wants, and that's happened before. But he's just over there still hopping and skipping around. He's so happy when he's in his element that way, and you can't help but that's infectious. It's not annoying. Trust me, it's not. It's infectious.
Did you get a chance to watch the finished product, and what did you think of it after everything was put together?
I did. I thought it was lovely, and once you see the music, I mean, I didn't want to see anything along the way. I didn't want to see any earlier cuts. I really wanted to watch it after the full effect. Newton
Yeah.
Brothers hold of it. I mean, come on.
Did you get a chance to watch it with your wife? Did your wife watch it?
Yeah, she loved it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now the next thing is like you can't wait for your family and friends to watch it.
Right. That's what's really exciting. And everybody's been really supportive.
That's awesome. So it comes out in a few days. It's available. It's going to be limited theater from what I've read, right? And then it'll be at Amazon, Apple TV, and stuff.
Digital platforms. Yeah.
That's awesome. How can the listeners and the viewers? Is there any other places that they can go and watch this, or is that pretty much?
Geez, I don't know what else you guys need. Really, just go to your digital platforms on January 14th and watch Borrego.
That's awesome.
Or go to a theater. It's crazy.
But that's in all reality, we have to see things at theaters. Some movies aren't just meant for theaters.
And it has Metsu.
Lastly, how can the listeners and the viewers find you on social media?
You can find me at LTexMex and Instagram, and that's really it. I am Nick Gonzalez on Twitter. Anybody does that?
Nicholas, this is great. Thanks for coming on, and good luck with the film.
Thank you so much.